Welcome to Not So PG. I'm Brooke Blurt. My pronouns are she and her.
I'm Matty Mills. My pronouns are he and him. And before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge the custodians of the land on which we record. For me, that's the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation.
And for me, that's the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Well, hey, B, how's your weekend?
I worked all weekend, actually. I've had 8 days now, straight work, no day off. Which is, hustle era.
Okay, so hustle era. Let's talk about that for a quick moment because, hustle era to me is a little bit polarizing. And the only reason I say that is because hustling is, for me, working. If you're working for a big company and you say that you're hustling, I'm like, you're just working to, line the pockets of these big corporations. It's different for us because we freelancers. We line in the pockets of ourselves. But, I hate when, someone's, amongst, a massive company and they're like, yeah, I'm just, super hustling. I'm like, hustling for who? For that big company you work for? I hate that shit. I'm like... But I understand the freelancer hustle vibe. I totally get it.
Yeah. I've got to pay my rent, Dal.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think the word hustling is just it's not an ick. It's definitely not an ick, but it's definitely up there with I hate when people say it.
All right, well, I'm in my working era then.
She's in her working girl era,
She's
don't.
working every day. Yeah. No, I got home from Perth and then I have just been working with the girls all weekend. So I've basically just been spending my weekend putting girls to bed and helping them watch movies, plait hair.
Oh,
do knit treatments.
Cute.
It's been fun.
Knit treatment?
Great. I've been loving it.
Don't. That's traumatic. That takes me back to my childhood.
I know.
Don't. Did you ever say munies? You got munies?
No, we just called them. We got knits. That's it. We got knits.
Oh my God. So some of the girls have knits.
No, they don't. It's just more preventative. So usually sometimes when the girls come back from community, they can have, and then it can sort of spread around the house. But no, it's just more preventative. And also, it's just nice to do, they put even a hair treatment in as well, just for self-care.
Well, are they also doing the non-Indigenous girls' hair for knits?
No, I only look after, they're all black.
Oh, it just reminded me of a story my dad told me when my dad had to get his hair checked when he would go to school when he was younger. And if they just had this moment where I was like, they better not be just fucking doing the black girl's hair, not the white girl's hair. Knits don't discriminate.
No, knits don't discriminate. No, God, knits are fucking triggering.
Did they ever look through your hair with paddle pop sticks at school?
Couldn't remember, but probably.
So let's move on from critters. Other than that, you've obviously been working with the girls, but you were in WA. Why were you there for a wedding?
No, I was there for the film festival, Cinefest.
Yes, it was. Your stories on Insta were giving wedding vibes.
Oh, no.
Because it was a beautiful farm or something, wasn't it?
No, I'm trying to think. What the fuck did I put up?
Yeah, you were on a farm. There were animals in your stories on Insta.
No, so I went to Perth for Cinefest and for Tourism WA. So it was down south. It was Busselton, Bunbury, Margaret River. And basically the Cinefest festival it showcases all these films and, short films and feature films of, people. I watched Ego by Michael Gadinsky, who passed away a couple of years ago. Yeah. I watched a other short film with Leah Purcell in it called Shader, which is about a young Persian story about a girl and her mum, which was really beautiful. And it just really inspired me, actually. It's going into this episode, I have thought that I really would like to dabble into a bit of a bit more acting and probably a little bit more film, I guess, and where my place would be in that. But I feel like I need to go back and sort of build my building blocks. But right now I'm really enjoying my youth work and I'm loving that. But it's I loved going away for a couple of days back home to Perth and then seeing my family and then go down south. But it wasn't a wedding. It was just I got invited to a winery, so I just went to a winery and there was lots of animals around.
Oh, that's okay.
That's about it.
You just made me think
Yeah.
for that last 5 minutes that I was daydreaming about animals on your stories. Like, I was like, was there a fucking chicken or was there not a chicken? Because in my head, I saw these animals and it was like, oh, she might have been back there for a wedding on a farm. But no, it was Cinefest. How great.
Yeah, no, it was just because we're basically when you're driving down south, there's all the farmland. So I just stopped off one time and I was like, went up to the fence and the biggest mob cows just came towards me. I was like, what the, like normally they're scared. So I was like, oh, I'm the animal whisperer over here. And so then I was driving again and I saw all these chickens. So I was like, what the hell? So I pulled over and like, again, they just like come up to the fence. Like they're so friendly.
Oh, cute.
So I was like, what on earth is, yeah. So I'm just like an animal whisperer, you know?
Love that. Well, being home must have been nice. Like, I mean, being back in WA, like that must have been nice for you. I know that this time of the year for both of us isn't the easiest time. It's definitely been a tough time for me this weekend. I it's the 1 year anniversary of my brother's death, and it really snuck up on me, actually. It was one of those moments that I sort of put to the back of my head and I kept on thinking about it, and then every time it would come into my brain, I push it back because I still feel quite numb about what's happened. And it's really triggering, I suppose, to see memories come up on Facebook. But I've been thinking about you too, sis, because it's been 2 years since your sister passed away, and being home, did that make it any easier for you being back in WA around that time, or...?
Sorry, I'm just trying not to cry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, like today is like a tough one because it's 2 years since we had the funeral. So not since she passed, since we had the funeral, which took about a month to have.
Yeah.
And I mean, we spoke about grief when we spoke about your brother Matty, which we know that it isn't easy, and we know that we sort of lose a little bit of ourselves throughout the process of losing a loved one, and we don't really you never really go back to being your normal self. And I haven't really been the same probably since, and I don't know if the reason why you sort of avoid it is because maybe there was a part of you that's also not the same. Not going to put words or feelings into your mouth, but for me, it's like it's been still ongoing for 2 years because I'm still going through an inquest to seek more information about my sister's death. So I'm reading documents about, the moments and the lead up to her last moment, and it's hard.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's going to bring her back, or it's not going to give me any type of closure. It's just that I'm seeking that information for some justice, that the system is absolutely fucked. And I hate the fact that, in her last moments were in a place that is quite significant for Aboriginal people, the Yagan Square. And I used to go there all the time, and it's maybe not one of my favourite places anymore, but...
Yeah.
There's other inquests into other women around her death and why she passed away. And just like reading these over and over again and having to, seek more information and give more information and pull it and relive it every single time is like hard, and it has been so hard for the 2 years. And I just feel like it's not stopped, and it probably won't until something changes in the system, and I don't think anything will change anytime soon. But at the same time, it drives me to do the things that I do. And I think, the same thing with you is that you want to give younger people around you, the resources and, the inspiration that they can have such a better life for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think for me, my sister just had it so fucking tough.
Yeah.
Like, majority of her life. And it just makes me feel so sick and unwell that I get to live so fucking freely and so happy and, not a care in the fucking world. And she just struggled, like, you know, and I don't want my children to ever feel like that in the future. I don't want future generations. That's why I love youth work, because I'm teaching the kids, like, to have a better life, not to go down into a system that wasn't built for us. So, yeah, I'm sorry that I've just unloaded so much shit.
No, you never have to be sorry. You never have to be sorry.
It's really fucking sad. Like, it really, today just, like, feels really heavy. And I can feel it, like, just the weight of it all right now. And I don't know if it's... and I've just, you know, I feel so inspired at the same time, like, in the positive thing is, like, you know, with where, you know, what we can do, you know, with our platforms, with our life, with, you know, I think The Voice, like, I feel like really inspired about what could happen and potentially what, you know, what change is going to come. But at the same time, I'm also extremely pessimistic about the system itself. Yeah. I don't know if people will remember the shit show that we all both went through with the loss of our siblings. And losing a sibling is just like losing a parent is fucking hard, but I think losing a sibling with someone you've known your whole life is just like...
And sis, like, you've lost a lot, like you have, you know, like knowing your story, knowing how much you've gone through, like you've lost so many incredible Black women in your life, you know, at such a young age. And I just want you to know that it is so beautiful to see what you do with the power that you hold, that you get from those Black women, and how you give that power to the young Black women you're working with. Like, for me, you are so strong within your purpose, and you know where that comes from, and you also know that you want things to change for people who don't have that power, or who haven't been able to find that power within themselves yet. Like, just know that, like, you are one of the strongest people that I know. Like, honestly, it's an absolute privilege to be able to see you, like, use all these awful experiences and turn them into, like, something positive and something that you want to leave behind. That's like a legacy that you would definitely be proud of. And, like, your mum and your sister, they'll be very proud of you.
Thanks, Matty.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm all right. I mean, I'm all right. And I think that I haven't done the work. And I haven't done the work to get to a place where I can really get in touch with my feelings about what's happened. And I know that you have, you know, like, and I really admire that about you. I think that I've seen you do the work, you've put in the work, you're consistent with the work. For me, I run away. I run away from facing things. I run away from facing the trauma of my brother. And even though it was his anniversary on Saturday, I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to, I spoke to my dad quickly about it, just make sure my dad was okay, to get him out of bed. But I didn't want to go there, and I haven't been able to go there. And we're just now starting with the court case. The first hearing was supposed to be last week. It got adjourned because of certain things that are happening within that world that I can't speak about. But I think once we have to go down that track of really finding out the how and the why, I'm going to have to make sure that I'm prepared for that, you know? So, yeah, like, I'm really inspired by the work that you've done in this scenario, in terms of, like, you've got yourself to a point where you're allowing yourself to feel. And I think that's really healthy. But I know that it's hard too, sis. Like, I definitely know that it's not an easy thing. But I think I'm okay because... Excuse me. I'm okay, coughing up something. I hope it's those feelings that I've been looking for. No, no, I think I'm okay because I'm numb, and that's not a good thing. But I think that that's what's keeping me okay right now. And I think that I will face the moments and the big acceptance at some point. But I know that I need to do work to get there. And that's something that I definitely can say that I'm hoping to do soon, you know, get some work to get there, because you can't hold it in forever.
No, and I feel like, well, I mean, look, there is self-reflection that you've just shown. Like, you know where you're at. And that's like a first acknowledgement, is knowing where you're at and like what your capacity is. And sometimes, yeah, I mean, I've done the work, but I feel like I'm just always semi-emotional. Like, you know, I put my heart and soul into things, and I don't think people realize how sensitive and like how emotional I am with anything that I do, whether it's working with kids, whether it's like filming, whether it's like talking on podcasts. Like, my heart is in things. If I'm doing that, like, I've invested in it. I just don't do things just to do them.
Yeah.
And grieving is like, you know, it's just like, it just shows up, you know, unexpected. And I think, you know, when you talk about numbness, like, there is that times when that's also like equally okay as well, to feel absolutely nothing. And I mean, you know, you'll feel them when maybe you feel like a sense of safety or a sense of place that you can allow yourself to feel those feelings. And I mean, I'm really lucky that I've got other amazing Black women around me that, you know, hold that space for me.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
And Black men as well, like yourself, like that hold this space for me to just be super emotional.
And Black femmes, Black trans women. I mean, like, the Black community as a whole. I mean, if we didn't have them, it's what I say, like, if I could get a tattoo of a quote, which I would never do, but it would say, the thing that I'm most proud of when I wake up is being Black. Like, it's just the thing that I feel. Like, I wish that the whole world could feel that sense of pride, because it gives you your why and your purpose. Speaking of Black women, we have some powerhouse Black women coming up, so make sure you stay tuned, because, Brooke, I brought in the cast of Black Showgirls. We have the incredible cast of Black Showgirls in the room. We have Stephanie Somerville and Angeline Penrith with us on Not So PG. Welcome.
Hey. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We are so excited to have you on the podcast. I've been living in your world, in your pockets for the last 6 weeks. It's been an incredible ride. Steph, for somebody who doesn't know the show that well, you know, Brooke here, my co-host, tell her a bit about the show and why it's so incredible.
Okay, well, I'm so bad at elevator pitches, but I'll do my best without spoiling anything. So, Black Showgirls is like a spin-off of a cult classic film that was made in the 90s called Showgirls, which is just like totally mad and wild. If you've seen it, you'll know. And Nakia Louie decided to do a rewrite of it, basically, inspired by this movie that's just big and black and wild and, yeah, totally cracked. So...
Angeline, would you say that describes the play pretty accurately?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a mock-up, isn't it? So a very funny version or reimagining of Showgirls, the movie. And come up with Black Showgirls.
And, Brooke, have you seen Showgirls, the film? Like, do you know what that film is about?
Yeah, I love that film. I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see what Black Showgirls... I mean, you have described it as cracked, and I think that's like our podcast. It's a bit unhinged. I sat on a panel with Nakia, and we had the biggest yarns. So I'm always really excited to what she puts out. I mean, I watched...
Black is the New White.
And I loved that. So I can't wait to see this. And I'm really excited to see Matty in this show as well, because I haven't seen him
Be
perform,
careful what you wish for, girl.
but-
Be careful what you wish for. But let's talk about the process and the last 6 weeks, what that's been like for us as a cast. I know that, you know, it hasn't always been easy, this process. It's been quite hard when it comes to trying to get this show right, because one, it's such an ensemble piece, and the chemistry of the cast needs to be on point. And we definitely got to a position where we found that perfect magic spot, and it feels great now. But it wasn't always that way. There were some hiccups along the way, which happens in every production. But Steph, walking into the room, I know that you had big dreams and aspirations to work with Chae and Nakia. Tell us about how they are an inspiration to you, but also like what it means to you to be working with them.
Yeah, it's so... I've told this story to Matty before, and it's so embarrassing. But when I first came over to Sydney in 2018, two of the first shows that I saw when I came over here was Black is the New White, which was written by Nakia Louie and had Shari in it, and Barbara and the Camp Dogs, which had Ursula Jovic in it, who was one of our other directors.
Yes.
And it just like totally blew my mind. I didn't even know that that's what theatre could be. I didn't know that's what black theatre could be. And ever since then, I've really admired Nakia, Shari and Ursula. And I had 2 years ago, I made a manifestation board because I'm like really into manifesting.
Yes.
And I had a picture of both Shari and Nakia on it because I was like, I got to work with these women. They're amazing. I was so inspired by them. And then when this opportunity came along to work with both of them, I was like, it's like all my dreams come true. So I was really nervous to get to meet and work with them, but it's been really exciting and really rewarding. And
I love that for you. I love that you put them on your vision board and now you have the opportunity to work with them. You've been working with them. It's pretty cool. And it's so great to see you. A little backstory here. Me and Steph went to acting school together. We went to Whopper. We spent a year in each other's pockets over in 2014, I think it was. So we had a great time. I got to know Steph. I always believed in your talent. I always thought that you had this very special ability to be able to just execute, and I always trusted you as a performer. So I feel like being able to have a full circle moment with you has been super cool.
That's so sweet. Made me cry.
Oh, don't. Angeline Penrith is here as well, and she plays such a few characters, actually. Yeah, there's a few characters in this play that you really take on and give everything you've got to. But you've been in the industry for nearly 20 years now. You've been, you've paid your dues. You have, done so much over the 20 years. How does this play compare to the last 20 years of what you've done?
Well, this is the dream play because, I've worked with Nakia and Shari back in the day when not just actors, but before they became renowned powerhouses in the industry. So to now come in on this level and, they're bossing out, that's the dream because my history is rooted in Black Theatre, the National Black Theatre in Redfern. So my dad's brother actually wrote The Cake Man, which most people study in Black Theatre.
Wow.
And so, my history is very much a part of Black Theatre in the beginnings. So, one of these jobs to work with all Black creatives is just like the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a whole Black cast. There's 5 of us. We're all from different tribes, different mobs. We have 2 Black incredible female directors. We have a Black choreographer who is a renowned choreographer. This really is Black excellence, the pinnacle of Black excellence. And I think that it's going to be hard to walk into another space after this because of how great this space feels right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the characters because, Brooke, I feel like once you hear these girls describe what they have to do in this show, you're going to be like, how the fuck? Let's talk about Ginny Jones. Ginny fucking Jones.
Well, okay, so Ginny Jones is a young girl that's grown up in a town called Shithole in rural Australia, and she knows 2 things about herself, and that's that 1, she's Aboriginal, and 2, she's an incredible dancer, even though there's not much proof of either of these things. And she decides to go and chase her dream of becoming a Black showgirl, just like her mum in Bris Vegas.
And there is so much on that journey that is just like unhinged, but also just like left to field. You're not going to expect it.
Yeah. I'm hesitant to say too much because
you don't want to give it away.
I want people to go on the ride with us.
Yes, I agree. Right. And Angeline, you play multiple characters.
Yeah.
You are running off stage, getting changed, back on stage. Tell us about some of your favourite moments in the show.
Oh, look, there's so many. It could be hopping on stage or selling merch in the middle or you know what I mean?
Dodging a nipple.
Claiming white heritage and do you know what I mean? So where do you begin? There's so many characters and layers to each and every one of them. So, yeah, it's wild. It's a ride.
I mean, I just spent a couple of days in southwest of Western Australia at the Cinefest, which is a film festival. And a lot of the films that were being showcased, you know, from all these different types of film directors and theatre, etc. And then I had the pleasure of going to a school recently and sitting down with the kids and talking about the festival and how they can get involved into theatre and kind of showing them, you know, what pathways there are available. And I know that you guys have done WAPA, and that's like, you know, something that I expressed to them, and they had no idea that this, you know, what that entails, because it's not just like being in front of camera, it's not just performing, you know, there's so much production side to it as well, filming, camera, lights, all that sort of stuff. And you should have saw, I guess, the lights in these girls' eyes when I, you know, talked about all these pathways and opportunities. And it's so amazing that, you know, you guys are that and like showing, you know, what's available and what they can do. I have a question, because I know Matty was always to be born a performer. Like, look at him.
What do you mean? Where's my lie?
Did you always know that you were going to go into this from a young age? And, you know, this is a full circle moment for all of you, but at the same time, like, I mean, Angeline, you've been in the industry for more than 20 years. Did you know that you were always going to be, what would you call it? Is it an actor? Is it a performer? Like, what is
entertainer. What do you call it?
Entertainer?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's, yes, I did want to always be an actor. And I kind of see it as an extension of our culture. We're storytellers. We're natural at it generally, whether it's dance, singing, telling a yarn or performing. I think it's just a natural progression of what we always would have done. So that's how I feel about it. It's just a matter of time. So, yeah, I've always wanted to be an actor or perform in some way because, yeah, I was a child performer. So me and my sister used to sing at festivals, covers of songs and stuff.
Go on then, what'd you sing? Sing something.
I don't know now. That was when we was little.
I love putting people on the spot to sing.
Like Mariah Carey songs, you know, but it was just little girls, like Dream Lover and stuff like that. Yeah.
I love that. Maybe we should have had a live version of one of the songs in the show and you could have sung it.
Oh, shut up. Shut up now.
So good.
What about you?
Yeah, what about you, Steph?
I don't know. Like I've always been a drama queen, and I've always loved playing dress ups ever since I was little, and you know, like doing dances with my cousins and then showing them to everyone. But for me, I didn't really think that being an actor was something that was, I don't know, like I just didn't even think it was like a real option.
Well, neither did Margot Robbie until 2019.
That's crazy. That's
like,
ridiculous.
Did you see that video recently
No.
where she was like, you know, I didn't actually know that you could be a full-time actor, and then I realised that people didn't have side hustles in 2019.
Girl, come on.
That's 5 years ago. Come on, girl. Now 1.2 million at the box office. Yeah, I think you don't need a side hustle.
Yeah. Working retail on the side. No, but I had a bit of a rough time in primary school, and I didn't really feel like I was really good at anything. And then it was really my mum that pushed me into like going and doing drama classes. I forget what it's called in WA, but it was called like ZVAPA or something, and it was all a part of the public school education program, but it just meant that like once a week you would go to this other school and you would do a class for like 2 hours in drama, and it just like totally opened up my world, and suddenly I was good at something, and it just like really improved my self-worth and gave me my confidence back as a little kid, and I've just been like chasing that feeling ever since.
That is amazing. I mean, I feel very proud to be in this space right now. I have 3 incredible black women who are doing the thing that they're supposed to be doing. Like, I know that our show is about black women empowerment, and I've known that from the start. I saw it back in, I think, 2016. That's the through line of this show. And for me, as a black man, I want to make sure that we focus on that, and like that's at the helm of why we're doing the show. Black women, for me, have always been at the helm of the movements for our people. They've been, the matriarchs in our culture from day dot, but they've also just been the strength that we all need and the care and love. As Black women, taking on a work like this, which isn't always easy, especially with some of the dialogue that's been said, some of the places that you need to go, especially with your characters that are having identity crises, really.
Yeah.
It's not easy. How have you found it, Steph, in the beginning when you read the script? How did you find how confronting that was as a Black woman?
It's a mix of things when you first read the script. Like the things that were going through my head when I read the script was like, this is mad, this is cracked, this is hilarious. And then the other thing that was going through my head was, I guess, I always think about things when I'm performing. I'm like, what would my family think if they came to come and see this show? And would they be proud of the work I'm doing? And so, I want to make sure that in everything that I'm doing, I'm making my family, making my mom proud.
Yeah, I love that.
And so I just wanted to make sure that, like, Black women coming to see this show, they're going to feel empowered. They're going to feel like it's a love letter to them. And I think what we're saying in this show is that, like, Black women, you can be whoever you want to be. You can chase your dreams. You can do anything that you put your mind to. That's what we've always done. And yeah, I just hope that Black women coming to see this show really get that message and know that it is a love letter to them. Yeah.
Angeline, do you second that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think that your character, Molly, she goes through a lot of turbulence when it comes to her identity and how she sees, how she feels and how she interacts with the world around her because of, the pressures of society, but also just the way that Black women have been treated historically in this country and still to this day continue to be treated. But there is a breakthrough for you and your character. There's a moment where you take that power back and you realise the strength and how much it means to fulfil a Black woman's body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what is that moment like for you in the play? I know for us watching it, it's such an emotional journey. It's towards the end of the show. But it's one of my favourite moments in the show. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a pretty full-on moment without giving anything away. The brilliance, of this character and the brilliance of Nakia Louie, because in the film, the Black best friend is very much seems like it's written to fill out the white main character.
Yeah, she's a punching bag.
At all costs, And in this rewritten mock-up of Showgirls, she's kind of got her power and her right of place. I always think, like, when I read it, it was like, this is brilliant. Like, how can you think of Showgirls and then come up with this? Like, that's what I just was like, this is amazing. Like, this piece doesn't come around every day for Black actors and especially women. So, yeah. I don't know if that's too cryptic. But
well, you know what? Cryptic's good in a scenario like this because all you want to do is drip feed the listeners.
Yes.
Give them a little taste and then they'll buy tickets. Speaking of tickets, you have to get onto that because we are nearly sold out. We're over 70% sold out across the season. It's from a spokesperson from Griffin. They haven't seen anything quite like this when it comes to ticket sales. So we are going gangbusters. Yeah. We are selling like crazy. So we might get extended for an 8th week, and that's pretty unheard of in the Sydney theatre scene.
Exactly.
So,
Black theatres is bankable. Let's just put that out there.
I mean, I'm excited for you guys. I wish that you could travel with the show, and I wish, it could be as big as like big theatre things like Moulin Rouge and Hamilton, like things that we can see on a national level,
Yeah.
I know one day Nakia Lou is going to get that. Like, her writing is phenomenal, and I think, and you guys and the whole show. I mean, I'm excited. I'll probably be in Sydney to watch it. I don't know what day. I think that maybe I've been invited.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, you let us know because
Yeah.
we'll definitely get you tickets. And for those at home who want to get tickets, all you need to do is go to the Griffin Theatre Company online to get tickets for Blaque Showgirls. Make sure you get on there soon because it will sell out. Before we go, though, I want to just touch on something else because it is like a really important year for First Nations people. It's the Year of the Voice referendum. I know that as black fellas, it is our inherently our lives to walk through our worlds politically, right? People are always asking for our opinions on things. It's just sort of what we've been born into in this colonial world. But I do want to get, not your take, because we're not going to go down the voice route that deep because that's not what this is about. But I do want to say that we're doing a show that has the ability to change the perspectives and minds of people who come to see the show on how they view black people as a whole, but also black women. Do you hold that sentiment or that responsibility when you're performing on a stage? Do you, as a black woman, do you feel like you have the ability to be able to change people's views on First Nations people in this country through art and being creative?
I mean, I hope so. I am less concerned about changing the minds of non-Indigenous people think about me and more... it's more important to me that other black fellas coming and seeing me perform or seeing me do my thing are like, oh, she's doing that. That means that I can do that too. Yeah, I'd say that's what's most important to me. And if it changes how other people think about us, then that's awesome as well. That's a huge bonus.
I feel like it's always really difficult as a black woman to continuously feel that responsibility all the time of like having to not just, this is the, I think the difficult thing about in entertainment as well. And I don't know if you guys feel this in some degree. I've only been on reality TV, so I can't say what it's like to perform or entertain on a stage, right? I've only been on sets. And I've got the chance to sort of, edit and cut and swap things, and I'm not in that sort of performance. I'm just being myself. But there's that sense of like responsibility that you carry continuously where I guess non-Indigenous people will not understand how that feels. Like, I feel like as black women, we think about our future generations. We think about who's come before us, and then we think about the future. I take a lot of pride and a lot of responsibility in that as a person. But as a performer, like, where's the line of like, well, maybe I just want to give my best performance and I don't always want to have to feel that responsibility sometimes. I just want to, it's there, I feel it, and it's with me, but I want to just entertain and I want to do my job and I just want to be the best and do the best performance that I could ever imagine, and just walk out of something like, when you finish and you get that applause, be like, that was fucking good. It's the hardest thing, and I can't imagine like what you women go through with having to sort of separate that sometimes and just be like, this is a performance. Yes, it's, Nakia writes amazing things that has all those hidden messages, that political. I guess the thing that I'm trying to say is like, when do you get to a point where it's like, well, I just want to give my best performance? Like, do you know what I mean?
I don't know that you ever do, right? Like, I feel like that's something that just comes with being a black fella. Like, you can't separate who you are from what you're doing. It's not who you are and where you come from, your past, your family. It's not something that you can just flip a button and turn off. It's with you always, and that's a beautiful thing. And sometimes, there's a lot of other difficult things and responsibilities that come along with that.
Yeah, like, I don't have a problem with it because I don't know anything other than being black and a woman. And so, therefore, it's that all the time. And obviously, I don't know if it's obvious, I am a parent, a mother of young little black boys and a grown black man too. So, I just, wherever I'm at, I'm black and a woman all the time. That was a question.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't feel the burden. I feel more burden from, racism, and those are things that make up, being a black woman makes up who I am. So, It's just, that's a given. I'm going to be a black woman all the time, any room, any place.
I
anywhere.
love that about you, Ange. Like, and Brooke, I feel like you're quite similar. I always say this to Brooke. I say, Brooke's very authentic. She walks into a room, she's herself completely, 100% all the time. Me, you don't know what version you're going to get. Let me tell you. Sometimes I walk in and I'm like, you know, my code switcher is like really quick on that button. I don't know what they're doing.
What you need,
I mean,
man?
I'm always a black queer man, but sometimes I find it hard to really not be authentic. I think I'm always authentic, but I definitely mold myself to different situations. Maybe it's the fucking Gemini in me. Maybe it's the Gemini.
I was just literally about to say, I was like, it's the Gemini. He's crazy. He's got split personality. The reason I also, you know, bring that up though is that it's not a burden, and I know, you know, I don't feel like it's a burden. It is that code switching, which we constantly do in walking in different worlds. I just think, you know, as a entertainer, as a performer, as an actor, like, you know, this is a thing that we consider in ourselves and we hold at that highest regard, where non-Indigenous people don't have that. I kind of feel sorry for the bastards, to be fair. 'Cause I'm like, well, you don't have... Because I'm like, well, you don't have that. You don't have that drive, that push, you know, the reasons of why you do what we do. You know what I mean? So it's like the reason why I wanted you guys to be able to express that in some ways, because our audience aren't all black as well, and you know, they're non-Indigenous as well, and they try, you know, the reason why it's not just going to the show just to watch a show. Like, you're watching like history, you're getting educated, you're seeing amazing performers and people who have lived experience of of so many things, and you're seeing mothers, daughters. Like, that's the thing. It's not just being like, oh, I'm just going to go see this show. Like, you're actually seeing so much more. And I think people need to realize that. Also, you're not just like going and seeing a show. Go see that show. And then also, like, amplify that show. Like, amplify the voices that have put in the work to make that show. And I think our listeners need to hear how much work has gone into that. And how much, like, you know, it also takes a toll on us too. You know, like having to relive things and having to do things all the time.
Yeah. Totally. And I think that what's really interesting is there's 2 plays happening in Sydney right now. And there's more than 2. There's like multiple plays, but 2 really important plays. One is called The Visitors at Sydney Theatre Company, with like an ensemble cast of blackfellas, lots of blackfellas in that show. And then you've got our show. They're almost polar opposites when it comes to the stories that are being told, because one is like seeing our show is really, yes, there are these really tough through lines, and there is like a lot of as you say, history being taught, a lot of lived experience, but we get to have fucking fun. Like, we get to dance, we get to run around being chased by nipples, we get to like, I get to say, listen up, bitches, as my opening line. Like, when am I ever am I going to walk into a room and say, listen up, bitches? Like, come on. It's like so bad, it's good. So there's a lot of black joy on that stage. And I must like reiterate that. There is so much black joy that will fill your heart if you come and see this show. And what I love about that is that most of our experience in black theatre is about trauma-informed stories. And it's like going to work every day and having to put on a show speaking about things that are pretty close to your heart because you've either experienced it or someone in your family has experienced it, or, you know, there's things that are just really close to our lives that we have to talk about, which are fucking traumatic. But this show, as much as there are those really hard-hitting moments, we have fun. It's going to be so hard, let me tell you. If you come and see the show, where's the camera? It's there. If you come and see the show and I start laughing halfway through, don't fucking cancel me, because it's hard not to.
We're laughing constantly. Even like backstage, we're cracking up. It's to
not break character in this show is going to be the mission of my life. But yeah, on that, I just want to say thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for being on Not So PG.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
We, absolutely adore you both, and I'm so happy and thrilled to be able to work with you. And I get to now just have fun with you for the next 6 weeks. The work is done.
Exactly right.
Almost. But big love to you both, and thank you so much for coming on Not So PG.
Thanks for having us.
Huge fans of you and Brooke, so thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Honestly, it was such a pleasure to have you. Matty cut me off. I wanted to say goodbye as well. No, I just wanted to thank you women for coming on, honestly. Just as, someone who is inspired by women like you who can do these crazy things, it makes me feel like I can do them as well. So I just wanted to thank you, and thanks for coming on with us, because just seeing Black excellence and Black women strive in the industry is just like my joy in life. So thank you again for coming on.
Oh,
Thanks,
thank you,
Brooke.
Sissy.
Yeah.
Huge fan, and same to you, eh?
Yeah.
Wow, well, I'm so excited that we could have Steph and Angeline on the podcast today. But that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Not So PG. If you love us, leave us a 5-star rating and a little review.
If you want to tell us something, follow us on socials and slide into the DMs. My handle is at brooke.blurton and Maddie's is at It's Maddie Mills. And you can follow all of the Nova Podcast action over at Nova Podcast Official.
Bye, lovelies.